Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently about, I think it's about 5:30, 5:45, something like that. I have been filming videos for like the last 2 to 3 hours, so I don't even know really what time it is. I feel very rested today. I feel great today. I went to bed very early last night, and after I got home from my meeting last night, I was hungry, but like my stomach still hurt. It didn't hurt as bad as it had earlier in the day, but it still hurt a little bit. But I was like, okay, I have to eat something. So I ate a little bit of dinner, and I tried to eat stuff that was like real bland, so it really wouldn't hurt my stomach. And then I went upstairs and laid down with Alex and little dog, Boo Radley. Alex was like, you know, playing his township game and looking at TikToks and stuff like that. So I laid down in bed, and I was actually gonna like set my alarm and get up and watch some Fear the Walking Dead, but instead I was like, just go to bed early for the night and get a good night's sleep. So I did. So I went to bed and got a really, really good night's sleep. Woke up, I think it was like 6:30 in the morning or something, and I was like up, and I was like, okay, I'm up, but I was like, I need to go back to bed because I don't need to be up at 6:30 in the morning. Alex isn't going to be leaving for work for several hours, and I can't film any videos. Oh, and it was thunderstorming outside, so I was like, I can't really like sit outside on the front porch and do my meditations or anything because like, I don't know if you can, well, it's like all wet on the front porch right now. Like this whole like table that I have the tripod on is wet. It's been thunderstorming and raining all day long. So I was like, I'm just gonna go back to bed for a couple more hours. So I went back to bed for a couple more hours. But I got a really great sleep last night. I feel extremely rested today. And got up and took little Boo Radley out in between the raining. It's so funny because Boo, like of Boo, Tucker, and Pee-Pee, like he's like the only dog that like really has liked to go out in the rain and snow. He really likes the snow. But like the rain, sometimes he doesn't like to go out in the rain, but like today, it didn't bother him at all. He was like all running around in it and being an adventurer and sniffing around in the rain. He like doesn't seem to, it doesn't seem to bother him at all. So I just let him be out in the rain for a little bit, and you know, I watched him, and he just went from place to place, sniffing around in the rain. He's so cute. And then I brought him inside, and he got dried off, and gave him treats and stuff. And then I started making videos. I made a drama video today. I made a Peterisms video where I talk a lot about recovery. I did like more Q&A, like question and answers for recovery. And then my drama video is about Shane Dawson's newest video. And then I did a booktube video announcing my book for Peter's Book Club for April. And then I did a review video of these egg bites that I bought at Fresh Time. And then that's for, oh, and then this video. So I was gonna do a video for my Peter Does Stuff channel, but I wanted to start vlogging before Alex is like done with work, and he gets done at 6 today. So he'll probably be coming home here in just a little bit, and I thought I want to get like, you know, a major part of my vlog done before Alex comes home. So fed little Boo Radley, got him fed, and yeah, he's like we feed him earlier, but now he's like wanting to eat like later at night. Like when we take him out later at night, it's like when he eats the majority of his food, which I don't know why that is, but so anyway, he's been so cute today. He's been so sweet. It's so funny because he follows me around like the entire time I'm making videos. Well, so on a sad note, today is the 1-year anniversary since Tucker passed away. And I've really been thinking a lot about Tucker today. And, you know, Tucker was, you know, when Pee-Pee passed away, like Boo Radley was sometimes, he would sometimes like, you know, be in his house or whatever, like when I was filming. But like Tucker would follow me around a lot. And it's really weird, like when I would do my Peterisms videos, Tucker would always be like right below me. And like, just like literally always, I would just like pet him the whole time, or I would like bring him up on the chair or whatever, but he was always right below me. And then at the end of my videos, many times he would bark. If you go back and you watch Peterism's videos from when Tucker was alive, he would like bark. Like when I would say goodbye at the end of the video, he would bark. And Boo Radley doesn't bark, but only during the Peterism's videos typically. I mean, sometimes during other videos he'll do it, but rarely. He usually sits on so we have a dog bed in the corner, and he usually just sits in the dog bed or sleeps in the dog bed while I'm making videos, and then if I get up and move somewhere, he'll like move over to like the computer or like where I'm at and stand next to me, and like I'll pick him up, and you know, while I'm like editing videos or whatever. But during the Peterism's videos, he always stands underneath me. I don't know what it is about that channel. I don't know if it's the tone of my voice. I don't know what it is, but it's so bizarre to me that Tucker did the exact same thing and Boo Radley does the exact same thing. It's so weird to me. But anyway, I've been thinking a lot about little Tucker today, and in some ways it seems like it's been so long since he's been gone. And in other ways, it doesn't seem like it's been like a year at all, you know? I know I was so worried when he passed away. I was like, because Pee-Pee passed away a couple months short of 14 years, and Tucker passed away a couple months before he turned 13. And so kind of like averaging all of that, I was like, Boo Radley's like, he's not gonna make it. Like, I was really worried he wasn't gonna make it much longer, you know? And here he is, he's made it, you know, a whole other year. And he's 13 and a half now, over 13 and a half. But he seems to be doing well, little guy. And his medicine really helps him a lot. Like, the medicine that they put him on for his arthritis, like, he just like acts like a little bit of a puppy dog. It's so cute, you know? So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that today, and Alex and I have been looking at a lot of videos and pictures of, like in Miami even, we were doing this, of like the puppies from like the last couple years. You know, it's weird when you, especially when you have like, I think, several dogs, because they kind of like run together as like a pack a little bit, you know? Which I will say this, if you're somebody that's like not opposed to having, like Alex really like doesn't want to get several dogs ever again. Like, he just thinks it's a lot of work, and it is a lot of work. But if you're thinking about, like, if you're somebody that's not opposed to getting like 2 or 3 dogs, I really think that having 2 or 3 dogs really helps the dogs. It helps training the dogs, number one, I believe. I think they're less lonely, and all of that kind of stuff. You know, we've talked a lot about it with Boo Radley. You know, even with like neighborhood dogs and stuff like that, he gets very confused and he gets kind of scared. I don't know how he would be. And a lot of people are like, well, you should get another dog, you know, for Boo Radley and whatever. I know that there are like a lot of people, like Melissa and Jason and and Alex were talking about this when we were in Florida, because they had a dog that passed away several years ago, and they waited like 2 months. You know, Melissa's so into the rescues and stuff like that, and then they had a rescue that needed to be fostered, and then so they brought the rescue home. And I can remember at the time, they had another dog too at the time. So when their dog passed away, they had 2 dogs. And so then they just had this one dog, this female dog. And they were like, we don't know if we're going to get another dog, you know, whatever. And so when they brought this foster dog in, I can remember Melissa was like, we don't know if we're going to keep it. We're just fostering it right now or whatever. But they were telling us this weekend that like, as soon as they brought him home, like the other dog like lit up and was like running around the yard with him and was like so excited to see him. And like, you know, they became like instant friends. And that sometimes happens, but it sometimes doesn't too. Like, and their dog is like 3. Their dog is not like 13 and a half. You know, Boo Radley is like old enough that like I worry, this is my fear, right? That if we got another dog, because the only reason that I would get another dog right now is for Boo Radley, like, so that he has another dog to be like, you know, friends with or brothers with or whatever, you know, like that would be the only reason that I would get another dog. And my fear is that if the opposite happened, if we got another dog and then Boo Radley isolated and didn't hang out with us and went to his house all the time, you know, down in the basement, and didn't want to be near us because he thought we were giving all this attention to this new dog. Like, that is my fear, you know? Or if he didn't get along with this other dog, like, that is my fear too. And so after a lot of discussion, we've just decided, let's just be the best dog dads we can be to Boo Radley and give him the best life that he possibly can have, you know, for however long that is. And that's what we've decided. And our vet agrees with that 100%. She's like, you know, when, like, you know, our nephews have come over and stuff like that, like, you know, whenever anybody comes in the house, like, Boo's very scared. Like, he gets very nervous around kids and animals and stuff like that, you know, like, he just doesn't know how to act. Like, he immediately is, like, crawling up, like, my chin, like, save me, Dad. Like, he gets scared, right? And, like Sarah, when she comes over, she sometimes, well, she now has 2 dogs, but before she would bring one, and sometimes she would bring her dog over, right? Well, she has a pug, and the pug is the same age as Boo, and the pug is just like, hey, I'm here, you know, like, let's hang out. And Boo Radley was not about it. Boo Radley was, like, jumping up on me and, like, climbing up on me, like, Dad, I'm so scared. I mean, and this was, like, the nicest, her dog is, like, the nicest pug in the entire world, right? And so that's my fear, is that, you know, and like I said, our vet said the same thing. She was like, I don't know that this is a dog that I would recommend you guys getting another dog with, because I don't know how he's going to handle that. You know, like, he is a very scared dog. Like, he just, you know, like, he was good with his brothers, but he trusted his brothers. Like, he grew up with, you know, Tucker was his litter mate. Like, he and Tucker never spent a day apart, like, in their whole life, you know. I don't know, like, the whole thing with the dogs was, like, so special, and, like, that was something that was, like, so special to me too, was that, you know, Tucker and Boo, like, never spent a day apart, like, never. They never once, like, slept apart, spent a day apart, nothing their whole life, until Tucker passed away. You know, and Pee-Pee was Boo Radley's best friend, and he would just, like, follow him around. He wanted to be Pee-Pee so bad, you could tell. Like, you know, if Pee-Pee went somewhere and peed, like, Boo Radley went there and peed, and so I'm happy that Boo Radley is doing as well as he's doing, you know, and that he is as happy a dog as he is, and, like, you know, all the neighbors love him, and, you know, like, because I call him, like, jokingly, I call him Boo Ridley, and so I go, Boo Ridley, Boo Ridley, and so the neighbor across the street, she's like, hey, Boo Ridley, and she's always like, he's got, you know, springs on his feet, look at him jumping all over the neighborhood and stuff like that. All of our neighbors love Boo, you know, Boo Ridley. They all love him. You know, they're like, hey, Boo, and, you know, he has a good life. He has a real good life, and, I don't know, but I think, like, going forward, when he's not here anymore, like, I would love to get, like, a dog, and then, like, a year or 2 later get, like, another dog. Well, ideally, what I would love to do, I would love to get litter mates again, but they say a lot of times litter mates do not get along. They don't do well together. I don't know, we lucked out, I guess, with Boo and Tucker. But I would like to get, like, a dog, and then, like, a year or 2 later get another dog, and then, like, a year or 2 later get another dog. So they're separated by, like, 3 or 4 years, and have, like, 3 dogs. There just was something so special about having 3 dogs together at the same time. I mean, they just were, like, their own little gang. They were their own little pack. They took care of each other. They played together. You know, it just was so cute. They would all, like, you know, Tucker and Pee-Pee would, like, play with toys on the end of the bed, like, hours into the night, you know. And it just, they were so good together. They just were pals, you know. And yeah, and like I said, like, they really, like, took care of each other a lot. And, so I don't know. Listen to all the birds. All the birds are back. Springtime in Indiana. Spring in Indiana is really beautiful. If you've never been in the Midwest in the springtime, it's so pretty with, like, the flowers and with the little buds on the, you know, the flowers and the trees and the bushes and everything. my neighbor, she cleaned out our walkway, and it's already like sprouting, already up. She said something to me about moving our hostas. She wants to like move my hostas so that they're like, because right now we have like one and then like one and then like three. And she's like, well, I can separate them so there's like 4 on either side and they'll look better. Alex doesn't care. Alex was like, I want it all taken. A couple years ago, he was like, I want it all taken out. Let's just put rocks. And I was like, Alex, we're not doing that. That'll look so tacky. It'll look so bad. He was like, I don't want to have to take care of anything anymore. I go, Alex, like, we're going to have like nice shrubbery. You know, I keep on saying I want to do these like boxwoods, right? And then like spring comes every year and then I don't do the boxwoods. So I need to get to a nursery and look and see like how expensive that is and how realistic it is. For me to do these boxwoods, because I don't even know that I can do it. But she was telling me that she could separate the hostas and then have them like 1, 2, 3, 4 on either side, and she said it would also eliminate so many of the weeds, and the weeds wouldn't be as bad with the boxwoods. So Alex, I asked him about it. He's like, I don't care, do whatever you want to do. So I might let her do that. Do you hear the church bells in the distance? Aren't those pretty? You're like, no, we just hear your neighbor's grandkids crying. Well, there's that too. It's all the sounds of the universe. They're going home. I think that's why they're crying, because they're upset. They don't want to leave. Somebody asked me if there was any new HOA gossip going on. There's just a few things. There's nobody running for any boards. The board, like, I think the board elections are in September. It's so interesting because, like, 3 of the positions for the board were not filled. Like, nobody wanted them. And so, like, people that were already on the board in different positions, they were like, who've been on it for like 20 years or 10 years or whatever, they're like, oh, we'll take these positions and we'll just hold on to it till next September, because basically they want all the power of the community, which who'd care, right? But basically that's why. And they're like, oh, we'll take it so that nobody else has to do it, instead of like re-electing new people. So my neighbor across the street, I think she's the secretary or the treasurer or something like that. She doesn't want to be on it anymore. She's like, it's too much bickering about small, stupid stuff, right? Okay, so I was saying to my neighbor over there, I was saying to he and his wife, and to her and to them, I said, okay, we should, all of us run for the board, and then we could run the entire community just from right here in our neighborhood. And my neighbor said to me, absolute power corrupts power, or absolute power, whatever, you know that saying or whatever. He was like, we don't need to run the whole neighborhood from right here. The one piece of gossip is that down the street, probably 8 condos down. So on this side, there's no condos, there's a brick wall. And on that side are the condos. I don't even know who did it, but somebody, this was before Christmas, because it was when their son and his girlfriend were visiting, and they walked down there to see it. I actually was vlogging one night when they were walking down and I talked about it. Somebody, like, I don't even know how they did it, because from their driveway to the fence is literally like 10 feet. So I don't even know how they possibly did it, how they put their car into that much speed. But they backed into this brick wall and they took the entire thing out. Like the entire brick. It's like a brick thing and then like a wire fence, like a, what do you call it, like a metal fence. They took one whole entire brick column down and then the fence that goes along with it. That was before Christmas, like 2 weeks before Christmas. It is still sitting down. The brick is all like in the grass, and they're talking about how they're getting estimates for it and all this kind of stuff and whatever, which is interesting because we'll end up having to pay for this fence when anything else that happens in this neighborhood, like my tree got, you know, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, no, they paid for a new tree on that, but there was like something else that happened that I had to pay for with my yard and whatever. So, but they'll probably make us all pay for this fence or something like that. So like that's the big gossip, is like, are we going to have to pay for this fence or are we not going to have to pay for this fence? Yeah, no, they bought me that tree because I can remember, so that tree was hit by lightning. We had like a huge tree in our front yard, and it was hit by lightning, and they came. Actually, my neighbor's tree was hit by lightning yesterday, and they came, and like the tree people came, and like it was just like one huge limb though that was taken off, but thank God it didn't hit their condo, and they took it out. But anyway, so the HOA bought us like this little itty bitty Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. I think I've talked about this on here before, because that Christmas I put on like I got one of those big like red Christmas tree bulbs, and I put it on there. Like people be like, oh, Charlie Brown's. But anyway, that summer, the nosy lady in the neighborhood, she would walk by and she'd say, you need to water your tree. We paid $150 for that tree. We paid $150 for that tree, or whatever it was. I don't remember how much the tree was, but anyway. So that's the big gossip, is this fence that was knocked down. And then there's another gossip, because, so around our neighborhood, but like if you live like outside of the neighborhood, so there's like category 1, and that's like inside of our neighborhood, and then there's category 2, and category 2 is like people that live outside of our neighborhood, but they still like, their houses are like on our lake. So they're not condos, they live on like actual houses, and like gorgeous, beautiful houses. But they're on the lakes that are in the condos, so they're considered like category 2. And they're allowed to like use our pools and our tennis courses and stuff like that. They don't pay an they pay like an HOA fee, but it's like half of what we pay or something like that. And they're considered like, I don't know. Anyway. So one of them, I have no idea which house it is. I have no idea who it backs up to or whatever, but it's like literally like across the lake from somebody. They put up a fence like in their backyard, because these people, like this new family moved in and they're younger, and they have like, this is what I've heard, I don't know. They have like younger kids or whatever, so they put like a fence up so their kids are not like running into the lake. Well, apparently the person that's like across from them on the lake is like going crazy, because now they have to look at this fence like every day. So that's like the big gossip in the neighborhood. Everybody's talking about this fence these people got. And it's just like one person that's complaining about it, and everybody else thinks it's like this big joke. They're like, let them have their fence. Like, who cares, right? It's always stuff like that. So we usually get our monthly newspapers, or monthly newsletters. I haven't gotten a monthly newsletter in a while. I don't know why. There's probably one out there in my mailbox right now, and I haven't even seen it or something. It's probably like in the lower part, because we have like the main part of the mailbox, and we have like the lower part. It's probably in the lower part of the mailbox, and I haven't looked out there to see it. Really, the way I find out about gossip is not from a newsletter. It's from the neighbors. Like when I'm like sitting out here or whatever, and they'll like come up, like people that walk by, they'll like come up on my, like, and they'll be like, hey, how are you? And I'm like this couple that walks by like every day. They walked by yesterday, and they always wave and say hi. And like I had never met them personally, and so was it yesterday or the day before? I said, you know, we've never met we've never met in person, we've never met, you know, and I wanted to introduce myself. And so I introduced myself to them, and the man said, oh, I've talked to you on the phone before. And I said, oh, you have? And he was like, yeah, I'm so-and-so. And he used to be like a board member. They're very nice. These people are really, really nice. He was like the president of the board, like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, oh yeah, like, how are you guys doing? They're not on the board at all anymore. And so he was like, oh, I'm fine, and whatever. And so, but something, like, they told me something about, it was something small. But anyway, that's typically how I like find out about stuff, because people will like tell me little stuff that's going on, or did you hear about this, or did you hear about that? There's been like, in the last like 2 weeks, there's been like 2 or 3 people that have passed away in this neighborhood, which is really sad. But like since I've lived here, and since my mom has lived here, because my mom moved in, well, she moved in December of '94, so really 95. But since, you know, all of that, like this whole neighborhood has really kind of like turned around like 2 times, like with people that have like passed away, because it is an older neighborhood, you know. I have to say, like right now, like my neighbors next door, they're like in their early 60s. She's like in her late 20s. My neighbors in the corner, they're in their early 60s. And these are like their condos that they're going to live in for the rest of their life. Like they've already decided that. So they'll be there for a while. They're like in their late 60s, I think. And, but there are a lot of people in this neighborhood that, and I'm in my 50s and Alex is, going to be 40 next year. So like she's definitely like the youngest person in the neighborhood. And then probably like Alex is like the next youngest. There's like one young couple that lives in here, and I think that that's it. There are no like, there used to be a mother that had like high school kids, and they were like, people always said they were real rowdy and whatever. I didn't think they were too rowdy, but anyway. But they moved out. They like sold their condo and moved out. It's, the average age is like 70, 80 plus that lives in here. I mean, honest to God, it really is. And, I mean, there's a few people in their 50s, and there's like, well, I wouldn't say that. I'd say there's one woman that walks, and she's on the board, and I think she's probably in her mid to late 50s. She's probably in her late 50s. And then the majority of the people that I know are like in their late 60s to early 70s that live in here. And I think they move in here because most of the condos are really nice. I mean, we have the smallest unit, but a lot of these condos are like 3 bedrooms. Most of them have basements. So they can have their grandkids come and stay with them and whatever. Because a lot of them have their grandkids come stay with them for like a month in the summer. And, they're centrally located in Indianapolis. They're like in a really nice area. They're kind of hidden. So like you don't really know that they're here necessarily. It's not like they're off of like a main road or anything. Like we're like in the middle of a neighborhood. So like you have to kind of know they're here to look for them. And they're pretty safe and secure. I think most people feel pretty safe here. I think people like the mature trees and the lakes and things like that. There's pools and tennis courts and the pickleball courts and things like that. So, I think it's really, it's nice for a lot of people. Plus, I think a lot of the people that live here, like, they go away during like the winter months, because I'm starting to see a lot of people that I haven't seen for a while, and I think they have places like in Arizona and Florida and things like that. So they're back, and like the pool is really never that busy in the summer. I mean, there's always a couple days where it's like there's a lot of kids and they brought like a lot of grandkids up there and stuff, but like not typically. And if that's the case, it's usually like really early in the morning, like not late in the afternoon. I don't know why, I just had this sense. I was like, my husband's gonna pull down the street any moment. I don't know why I had that feeling. So we went to our meeting last night. We had a really good time. Starting to pick up some momentum. We're starting to get more people at that meeting. And it was good. Talked about like borrowing misery when you're happy, and like that as alcoholics and addicts we like naturally do that because a lot of us have grown up in like misery and chaos, and so we like naturally like lean towards that anyway, even when we're sober. So we talked about that. And I shared some experiences where I've done that, and it was a good meeting. Saw a lot of old friends I haven't seen in a while, and a lot of like my friends in recovery are like, they are, what do they call them, like snowbirds or whatever. So they have like one of our good friends, like he has a house, he and his wife have a place in Florida, and a couple of our friends have places like in Florida, or I think one of our friends has a place in Arizona. And so, or they'll go on like extended cruises like in the winter or whatever. And so now they're back, and so yeah, so it's good to see them because they'll be here now, through like August or September. And we haven't seen them for several months. Like one of our friends, Tanya, she said something. I said, when was the last time he was at a meeting? And I said, she was like, he hasn't been here for like 3 months because he's been gone for the winter. I was like, has it been that long? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay. It was a good meeting. We, oh, little Cardinal just landed up there. Hi, little Cardinal. Before the meeting, Tanya and I got coffee at Starbucks. She gets something different every time we go to Starbucks, but she always gets a decaf. She got like a decaf chocolate mocha something something with extra whip. She always gets something crazy. I got a grande. I wanted a brown sugar oat milk shake and espresso, but they didn't have brown sugar syrup. So I got basically the same thing, but with... It stopped. I got the same thing, but basically I got basically the same thing, but I got it with cinnamon instead. And it was good. And then, yeah, so we went to the meeting, and then afterwards... that was it. She brought me home. She stopped at the gas station and got a fountain pop. I didn't even get a fountain pop. And she brought me home, and then I ate dinner and watched some YouTube stuff, and then I went to bed early last night. Had a good early night last night. My plan was that I wanted to listen to... Do you hear them taking this tree apart over here? My plan was that I wanted to like listen to like an hour of How to Sell a Haunted House, because I'm really trying to get through that book so I can start listening to some cozies and some things that I really want to. Joelle said in the comment sections that she had such a hard time. You know, I think it's just what people like and what people are interested in. But she said she had a really hard time getting through Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix, which I loved that book. I thought that book was phenomenal. Mel from my book club, you know, my good Judy Mel, she is not a Grady Hendrix fan. She doesn't really care for Grady Hendrix at all. So I think it's just like personal, like who you like. But I have to tell you, of all of his books I've read, this one is his worst. Like, I am not into it. Like, if I hadn't picked it for Peter's book club, I would DNF it. I mean, I said I was going to read it, even though it was supposed to be February's book, and it's now April. But I made a commitment to finishing this book, so I'm going to finish this book. But it is bad. I mean, it's boring, you guys. It is so boring. I'm like halfway through this book, and nothing scary has happened. Like, they haven't talked about anything haunted, anything wicked to do with this. Like, the thing is, and I'm not ruining it. Oh, that's a big cardinal. I'm not ruining it for you, because once you get her home after her parents die, you already know this. It's going to be about these haunted dolls. You know that, okay? And it's very like puppet mastery. Your mom's like a puppet person and all this kind of stuff. You know it's going to be about haunted dolls, haunted puppets, something like that. But like, I'm halfway through the book, and there's still nothing about haunted dolls or haunted puppets. Like, literally, the first thing ever in the book just happened, and it was about these squirrels. And I'm like, this is supposed to be scary? Like, this is not scary at all to me. This is just weird and gross is all it is to me. So, I don't know. I'm ready to read some cozy mysteries. And I almost thought about, I was like, well, maybe I should start like listening to another book at the same time, and then listening to 2 audiobooks. But if I do that, because I have another misfortune book, I think that's going to be the next. I wanted to listen to this Shady Hollow so I can get caught up on all of Peter's book club books. And I really want to listen to the Shady Hollow book anyway, which I'll probably end up hating that book, and then I'll be like, okay, here, I just keep on reading all these books I hate. And part of the problem is, like, I'm still, like, back in the day, I was listening to audiobooks, like, every 2 to 3 days. I'm not there yet, right? Like, my momentum isn't there yet, so I'm listening to, like, 2 books a month. Well, when you're only listening to 2 books a month, and both books that you're listening to are books that you don't like, it's hard to get excited about the books that you're listening to, you know, or the next pick. So I need to listen to some, like, really good books, you know? Daisy Jones and the Six was okay. The end was fantastic, but it was just okay. So, yeah. And then I also have the... I have the True Crime Book Club for March. Is it March or... Yeah, I think I have that. Did we pick April's book yet? I'm so behind, you guys. I'm so behind. I know that we need to have March's book club for Peter's book club. I need to call Mel. I need to call Mel and get focused on this book club stuff. I need to keep a list of what all... That's what I need to do, is I need to keep a list of what all these books are so that I have them. So, what was the first book that we did coming back? Have we not even... No, we picked the April book. We announced it in the last book club that we did. We picked the April book. The March book is the one that Nikki picked, which is about Canada. That's the March book. And the April book, why can't I think of it? It's like in there. It's rolling around in my head right now. I feel like I've already made the book club announcement for April. Have I not? For Peter's book club? I feel like I have. For April's book club. Shoot. Why can't I think of what it was? Because I can remember we were going to have people in the book club pick it. And then Mel and I were like, should we just pick the book that we're going to... Oh, I know what it is. It's about that family. It's called The Family Next Door. And, because I was reading the article from like August People magazine, and it was about the girl that escaped her family where they were like abusing all the kids, and the kids were like ages like 6 or 2, like 2 to 29 or whatever, and then she escaped, and then the police came in and like all the kids got out and all that kind of stuff. So that's the book that we're reading for April. So I still have March and April's true crime book clubs to read, and I have to finish February's. Oh my god! At least it'll keep me reading. At least it'll keep me reading, and it'll keep me honest. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to lie about all this kind of stuff. I'm behind. I'm way, way, way behind. I should just do cozy book clubs. That's what all I should do, is just do cozy book clubs and just keep it easy. But no, I love the true crime stuff when I get to it, you know? It's just like I don't typically read the true crime stuff until right before, but I will tell you this. When I read a true crime book at the beginning of the month, for when we do the book club like later in the month, like I don't remember a lot of the details. When I read it, like the last one, Shattered, was that the last one? When I read it, like, or Dark Knight and Aurora was the same thing. When I read it like right before we do the book club, like I remember like every detail about the book. So that's why it's better for me to do the book, read the books like right before we have the book club. So, yeah. Anyway, I gotta get into reading, and to do that, I have to listen to like an hour of these books a night, because otherwise I am not going to be able to get caught up. And yeah. What I should do is I should finish How to Sell a Haunted House, and then I should listen to, because I want to listen to a cozy, and my new book for Peter's book club is a cozy. I should listen to that. That's the April book. And then I should listen to the March book for True Crime Book Club, and then we can have the True Crime Book Club for March. And then I can listen to the April book club and then be caught up in like 2 weeks from all of those books, and then be completely caught up, and then go into May with a fresh start. That's what I should do, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make the commitment right here. That's what I'm doing right there. There's my plan. I came up with a plan right there. So anyway, I feel like there's so many sounds out here today. There's a plane flying overhead. I can see it in the sky. Y'all want to see it? Do you see it? I wonder where it's going. There's a plane in the sky. There's dogs barking. There's birds chirping. There's babies crying. And Peter's talking. So anyway, all right, you guys. Well, I'm gonna get off here now. Wait for my husband to come home and figure out. Well, I reviewed these egg whites for dinner, and these egg white bites, oh my god, they were so good. Well, I didn't review them for dinner. I reviewed them, and then I said I'm gonna eat them for dinner. So I think I'm gonna eat them for dinner, and I think I'm gonna make, I have 2 of these, well, I have a box of these like Annie's plant-based sausages. And I think I'm gonna make like 2 of those sausages and have them, and that's gonna be my dinner tonight. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out on the front porch with me. It was so funny. Somebody commented on my video and said, I love that you sang the Eurythmics. Well, it was actually Annie Lennox. It wasn't the Eurythmics, but Annie Lennox is the lead singer of the Eurythmics. No More I Love Yous, but I sing it One More I Love You. And I thought it was funny that they just now noticed that I've been doing that when I've been doing that for like 3 years now or something. I don't know why. I don't know if, okay, so this is the truth, right? I don't know if at the beginning I did it as a mistake and said One More I Love You instead of No More I Love Yous, when I know that the song is No More I Love Yous because I'm a huge Annie Lennox fan. I loved that album back in the day. That I think it was called Why or something like that. But anyway, But I loved that album back in the day. But I know it's No More I Love Yous, right? So I don't know if it was a mistake that I sang it wrong and I just thought at that time it was One More I Love You, or if I did it on purpose. I really, to be honest, at this point, sitting here today, like, I don't know what I've said in the past about it, but I don't know. So if somebody could, like, let me know in the comment section below, I would love that. But yeah, I don't really remember why, like, how it all, I don't remember. So anyway, but One More I Love You. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I've had a fun time, and I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Wednesday. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You might be putting a smile on their face. You might be cheering them up. You might be making them feel happier, and you might just be giving them some hope. So yeah, it's important. And also, be kinder to one another. Love one another a little bit more, and most importantly, be kinder and love yourselves a little bit more. That's the most important one, because you gotta start there, right? To be able to be, you know, happier and helpful to other people. So anyway, first you gotta love yourself. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, one more I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday, Lena.